Mr. Bill, 72 years old, was a fairly disciplined man. No alcohol, no smoking. He maintained a habit of walking every morning and had never needed blood pressure medication. Yet one day, he walked into Dr. Mohit Kara's clinic with a worried look in his eyes and a lowered voice. "Doctor, I still do everything like before, still pleasure myself alone once or twice a week, like I've done for 50 years. But lately, I feel like something's wrong with my body. My heart races afterward. I feel exhausted instead of relieved. And the strangest part, I hardly feel anything at all anymore." Mr. Bill wasn't sick. He wasn't on any new medications. But he was unknowingly harming himself through a habit that millions of older men continue without realizing the impact. Masturbation, or self-stimulation, is not bad. On the contrary, it has long been a healthy form of release, helping to maintain blood circulation, hormonal balance, and improve mood in older adults. But after age 60, the body changes. Everything becomes more sensitive. What used to be harmless at 30 or 40 can now affect your cardiovascular system, prostate, nervous system, and sense of pleasure. The most dangerous part is that most signs are subtle. Loss of sensation, difficulty urinating, pelvic pain, lack of interest, fatigue after climax. And people blame aging, unaware that the root lies in old habits. In today's video, we will look closely at 7 common mistakes older men over 60 make with masturbation. Mistakes that can harm the body, rob joy from life, and reduce the ability to truly connect with oneself. Most importantly, you'll learn how to correct them gently, simply, and with full respect for your aging body, which still deserves to feel fully alive. If you're here and want to better understand your body at this age, leave a comment. I still want to feel life. Because your presence right now is the clearest sign that you haven't given up, and your body still has much to awaken. "Doctor, I haven't told anyone this, but lately, I don't feel anything anymore. I touch myself and feel no excitement. It's like my body has lost all sensation," shared Mr. Raymond, 68, with discomfort during his consultation. Raymond didn't have diabetes. He wasn't hormonally imbalanced, but he had unknowingly damaged his brain quietly through a habit many older men see as harmless, watching adult films too frequently. After 60, your central nervous system, especially the dopamine system, slows down. When you become hooked on fast, intense, and varied stimulation from pornography, your brain floods with dopamine and eventually loses sensitivity. Science calls this dopamine desensitization. At first you feel thrilled, but after a few months you need more scenes, more intensity, more extremes, just to feel what used to come naturally, until one day, even touching your own body brings nothing, no reaction, no connection, only emptiness. Worse still, this disconnect spreads not just in sexual function, but in emotion, confidence, and joy for life. Many people assume they're just too old now, but the truth is, it's not age doing this. It's overstimulation from artificial sources. Thankfully, this can be reversed. It's called dopamine detox, a break from overstimulation. Try avoiding pornography for 30 days. Instead, reconnect with your real body. Practice breathing, gentle touch, and listen to your heartbeat. After 2 to 3 weeks, many men who had lost sensation begin to feel again, even if just subtle tingles. If you've ever felt numb or disconnected from emotion, try commenting, "I'm coming back to myself," to mark a new journey. A journey your body will thank you for with every step forward. Mr. Michael, 71, was a very private man. His wife passed away 6 years ago and his grown children lived far away. In his quiet Chicago home, the bathroom became the only space he felt truly alone. And so, not out of habit but loneliness, he began masturbating on the toilet. At first it seemed harmless, but after 2 years he came in complaining of lower abdominal aches, incomplete urination, dribbling, and occasional leakage. Ultrasound showed his prostate was compressed and blood flow was poor. Everything seemingly unrelated traced back to that habit. You see, when you sit on the toilet, You apply direct pressure to the perineum, the area between the anus and genitals. This restricts proper blood flow, compresses the prostate, stresses pelvic nerves, and silently tires out your entire sexual system. Especially after age 60, good circulation is vital for energy, erection, pleasure, and consistent urination. And repeating poor posture, even for just a few minutes at a time, weakens this system slowly and without warning. So if your current habit involves the toilet, stop. Choose another place, a soft chair, a quiet room where you can sit comfortably, upright, without compressing your lower abdomen. If you felt dull pelvic pain, weak urine flow, or something feels off, leave a comment. I will change my posture. To remind yourself that even small changes matter. Mr. Harold, 68, was a retired engineer used to doing things quickly. And by the book, though life slowed down after retirement, one thing remained too fast: the way he masturbated. Not because he was in a rush, but because he was used to treating it like something to just get over with. Until he realized he hardly felt anything anymore. His body's reactions were weak. Pleasure had faded. He thought, maybe it's just age. But that wasn't it. After 60, the body needs time to respond. The nervous system slows. Blood vessels lose elasticity, and the sexual organs need gentle warm-ups to transmit emotional signals. But if you rush, act fast and forcefully, you don't give your body enough time to open the door to sensation. What's more, rushing triggers stress responses, spikes your heart rate, and limits the release of endorphins, the feel-good hormones. The result? You finish, but feel empty, hollow, even irritated for no clear reason. So what should you do? Change your attitude before changing your behavior. Don't view masturbation as get it over with. See it as a ritual of self-care, a moment to connect. Start with slow breaths. Place your hand on your chest to feel your heartbeat, so your body knows it's being listened to. Slow down, touch gently. Rediscover subtle sensations you may have ignored for decades. Slowness and gentleness won't take away your masculinity, quite the opposite. They restore your true manhood, appreciating your body, savoring the moment, and loving yourself deeply. If you've ever rushed and felt tired or hollow afterward, share your experience by commenting, "I will try to slow down." We read and deeply value honest reflections like yours. You've probably never heard anyone mention the term pelvic floor muscles in all your decades of being a man. But let me be honest with you. After the age of 60, if you don't pay attention to this muscle group, you will gradually lose everything. From the ability to control urination, to erections, and even the sensation of climax. The pelvic floor is a group of muscles located just below the lower abdomen, like a hammock that supports the bladder, prostate, and sexual organs. It is the foundation of stability, not only physically, but also quietly underpins a man's confidence. I once met Mr. Louis, 70 years old, a retired physical education teacher. He said, "I still walk every day, my muscles are strong, but I feel weak in that area. I lose control during nighttime urination, and I've lost my spark." After getting checked and beginning to train his pelvic floor muscles using a simple 5-minute daily exercise, he told me after 1 month, "Not only do I feel physically stronger, but I feel like a man again." Unfortunately, most men have no idea they can actively train their pelvic floor muscles. Simply by inhaling and then tightening the muscles as if trying to stop a stream of urine, hold for a few seconds, then release. Just 10 repetitions each morning while brushing your teeth or sitting in the car, and the results will flow quietly through your bloodstream. Pelvic floor exercises don't require weights or medication. All you need is to remember that you are worth caring for at a deeper level, where silent strength gives you a very real kind of masculine vitality. If you've ever felt weaker without knowing why, or if you've had signs of leakage, loss of sensation, this might be the reminder you need. Leave a comment saying, "I will start training my pelvic floor," to give yourself that commitment starting today. And if you think you already know how to care for yourself, then be careful of the next mistake, the most common one that causes many healthy men to become tired, detached, and not know why: wrong frequency. We'll continue right after this. Are you ready? Part 1. Too much or too little. When you lose your balance point without realizing it. Many people after age 60 quietly ask themselves, am I doing this too often? Or how long has it been since I last felt anything at all? But instead of truly listening to their bodies, they continue to live under outdated beliefs or remain silent out of shame. And that quietly throws off the biological balance inside you. On the one hand, if you masturbate too frequently, not because of genuine need, but out of boredom, loneliness, or as a way to escape stress, your body starts to enter a state of biological burnout. Hormones like testosterone drop significantly, the prostate becomes overstimulated, the body fatigued, and you begin to lose interest, lose energy, not only in intimacy, but in daily life as well. On the other hand, if you stop completely, out of concern for age, health issues, or the belief that I don't need this anymore, then the opposite occurs. Blood circulation worsens, nerves lose sensitivity, cells are no longer naturally stimulated, and the genital area begins to quietly switch off. I once treated Mr. Sam, 73 years old, a man who lived a healthy lifestyle and ate very well. But he told me, I no longer feel like a man. After some exploration, we discovered he had avoided sexual activity for nearly 3 years. Not due to physical inability, but because he thought, at this age, why bother anymore? When he returned to a healthy masturbation routine, just 1 to 2 times per week, he said, I feel like I'm slowly coming back to life, like blood returning after a long winter. So what is the right frequency? But there's no universal number, but in my experience, and that of many medical specialists, for men over 60, 1-2 times per week, in a relaxed and intentional state, is the ideal rhythm. It's just enough to maintain circulation, nervous function, emotional connection, and sexual health without creating strain or fatigue. Remember, doing it more doesn't mean you're healthier, and doing nothing doesn't mean you're preserving your health. Vitality doesn't come from extremes. It comes from knowing yourself and maintaining a steady, gentle, and meaningful rhythm. If you feel you've ignored your body for too long, or you've ever felt confused about how much is enough, feel free to share in the comments. I'm finding my healthy rhythm again, and now with a better understanding of frequency. Get ready for mistake 6, a serious one that almost everyone has made at some point, using too much pressure in this private habit. Don't skip the next part, because this mistake leaves real consequences on your body. Part 6. The harder you go, the more you numb. When pressure kills connection. I once asked a patient in his 70s, do you still feel anything when you touch yourself? He paused, then said, yes, but only if it's really intense. That's the only way I feel anything. Sound familiar? If you've ever felt the same way, it's possible you've fallen into the silent trap that many men over 60 do, using too much force during masturbation. As sensitivity begins to fade due to aging, medication, or old habits, we tend to increase pressure, speed, or intensity, trying to recapture that familiar sensation. Without realizing we're actually damaging the body's most delicate nerves. The male genital area contains thousands of tiny nerve endings, incredibly sensitive and incredibly vulnerable. When you grip tightly, pull harshly, or create uneven friction, microtraumas begin to accumulate. At first, it might just be numbness, but over time, it can lead to permanent loss of sensitivity. No matter how much you try to stimulate, you won't feel the same. Penile curvature, Peyronie's disease caused by scar tissue damage. Reduced pelvic circulation, leading to erectile dysfunction, difficulty urinating, or incontinence. Pain during erection or ejaculation, a common but often overlooked warning sign. Worse yet, when you've trained your body to only respond to intense stimulation, natural and gentle sensation becomes ineffective. When you're intimate with your partner, you may not respond like you once did. Not because your function is gone, but because your brain has been conditioned to expect artificial, high-pressure input and now rejects soft, genuine connection. What's the answer? Slow down, be gentler. Changing how you touch yourself is also how you change the way your body registers pleasure. Use lubrication if needed. Try softer, more mindful stimulation, and you may be amazed to feel something you thought was lost return. Remember, force does not create connection. Pressure does not create pleasure. And your body, after 60 years of faithful service, deserves to be treated with tenderness, not force. If you've ever experienced numbness or suspect you may be using too much force, share your commitment by commenting, "I will begin again, more gently." Your awakening could inspire thousands of other men who are quietly searching to reconnect with themselves. Up next is the final mistake, the deepest, most subtle, yet also the reason many feel emotionally empty, even after the act is done. Stay with us. This is where the soul reconnects, not just the body. Part 7. Mistake 7. Doing it without connection. When masturbation becomes a hollow habit, there's a heartbreaking truth I've seen in many men over 60. It's when they say, "Doctor says I still can do it, but I feel nothing at all." Not because of illness, not because of medication, but because they've lost the most essential thing, emotional connection to their own body. In youth, masturbation may simply be a physical release. But after 60, it needs to become an act of presence and compassion. Instead of becoming an unconscious habit, rushed, emotionless, meaningless, it can become a ritual of healing, a way to remind yourself, "I am still alive, this body can still feel, and I still deserve tenderness." When you masturbate without connection, your nervous system records the act as a purposeless reflex. The result? Sensation gradually fades. Hormones like oxytocin, bonding, affection, dopamine, motivation, and serotonin, calm, peace, are not fully released. Your brain starts to associate the act with dullness, not something worth repeating. But on the other hand, if you take the time to breathe deeply before you begin, thank your body for still feeling, still responding, touch yourself with gentleness and presence, then even a short moment can become an experience of healing, reconnection, and self-love. Many people ask, "I live alone, what's the point of masturbating?" Here's my answer. That is exactly how you practice love. First, with yourself. And then if one day you have the chance to connect with a partner, you'll bring a love that is mature, nuanced, emotional, and deeply human. Not rushed, not hollow, but a sacred journey. You've stayed with me this far, and that tells me one thing. You are still listening to your body. You still desire to live fully. These 7 mistakes aren't meant to make you feel guilty. They are here to awaken your connection. Because sometimes we don't need to be young again. We just need to return to ourselves, to the body that once felt deeply, loved fully, and still deserves all of it. Old age is not the ending. It is the final chapter, filled with wisdom and depth, if you are willing to pause, listen, and cherish each beat of sensation. Please share below. Which of these 7 mistakes have you experienced? What will you change starting today? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with a man who needs to be reminded that he is still worthy, he can still feel, and he can still live more deeply than ever before. Because life doesn't end when sensation fades. It only begins again when we choose to reconnect.